happy Sunday. It is Dana Sacco, your CRM specialist and virtual assistant coach with i2i Hype. And I'm really excited to be doing this one. Believe it or not, I found that I had done something very similar with my 3-day work week one. So if you look on my YouTube channel, and I'll drop that into the comments somewhere, I actually did this like something to show you how I was running my business. As a solopreneur, I didn't have a team at the time. I didn't have a VA myself, but I was just me. And what I did was I joined Honeybook along with Content Snare using Zapier to be able to do a lot of different things, but you need to know what the triggers are to make it all work. The biggest thing with Honeybook is knowing the triggers and knowing what goes to what. And then, okay, what can Zapier utilize, right? So the biggest thing, and let's go ahead and start by showing you Honeybook. And you don't need me. There we go. So this is my practice Honeybook setup. This is just my extra company. As many of you know, Honeybook will allow you to have 2 businesses run off of one account. So what you're paying is just for the one account. So if you go in here, good morning. So if you go in here, the biggest thing that you're going to filter by is actually under your company settings. And it is going to be preferences and your project types. So when you go into Zapier, your biggest thing to filter out is going to be by project types. Believe it or not, we actually had to take our Content Snare off because I don't have my project types set up correctly to be able to send the right questionnaire through Content Snare, because a lot of times the project type will change. So this is your first step. Develop your project types and be very specific. Why? Because this is what Zapier is going to be looking at in order to do that. So for example, if I was to design ours right now, I would have one for Honeybook or a Honeybook build. I would have one for Sweet Dash build, DUBSADO build, maybe 17 hats, but we don't really do that many 17 hats, especially with, we'll just leave that one there. But those are my 3 big ones. And then I would have virtual assistant coaching. So that's what I'm going to have in there. Oh, and I'd have systemology. So based on what they choose at that step will depend on what is sent to them inside of Honeybook. It's also going to depend on when they sign the contract, what their project type is. Will also depend on which questionnaire goes to them in Content Snare. So you need to have this set up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is what's deciding on Honeybook's end. There aren't any other major triggers to start a workflow. There aren't any. It doesn't have that capability. So, some people, they're like, well, I want it to do this. It cannot. This is what differentiates from each workflow or automation, whatever you want to call it. What's the name that they're doing it now? Automations. So as you can see here, these are the different project types. And this is the list of automations. This is just the generic one that they go ahead and send. Yes, but I'll get to that in just a minute. So the question was, do you need to have different project types to connect properly in Content Snare? If you have different questionnaires inside of Content Snare, for example, we have a different one for Honeybook builds, we have a different one for Sweet Dash builds, and we have a different one for DUBSADO, and we have a different one for business strategy. So that is all different because you need to filter it out using Zapier. You need to use the filter. So this is why this is important. This is what it's going to be looking for. This is what any of the systems are going to be looking for. There are limitations with using this, but it's very clean once you get it working right. Now, another question I had was, why the heck are you using Content Snare versus the questionnaire in Honeybook? Because they do have a decent questionnaire. There's just a couple things I really like about Content Snare, and my biggest one is that it will automatically bug my client until they submit stuff, and it also lets them ask questions based on inside. So I let them drop comments that I can see, and it notifies me that says, hey, they have a question, or they commented on this question. So this, you need to have your project type set up no matter what you do. And this is, it can still be default for contact form. So for example, right now inside of my own Honeybook, they get sent an automatic email with a list of our services. And then based on that, we send them a contract, but it's still going to separate them out at the Zapier level based on the project type. Based on this is the major, there's only certain things it's going to do. There are no work, like even in the automations, the triggers for these will do send a file, questionnaire. Yeah, we'll do that one. Okay, these are the only triggers. This is when something happens. Automation is activated, guys. Unless you're manually adding people to certain ones, that's it. Project end date, project date, previous step is complete, contract is signed, questionnaire submitted, invoice is paid in full, first payment is made, project moved to completed, brochure is submitted, smart files, all required signatures are signed. These are the only triggers. You cannot trigger off of things such as they scheduled a call. You cannot do it off of any other thing like that. Now, inside of mine, I send them a smart file. My smart file is very, very specific, where it actually, you do not book a call until you've gone through all 7 pages. It's on the very, very last page. Can they skip ahead? Absolutely. Do I require them to submit an answer of what they're looking for? No, I don't. That is me, because if you've gotten to page 7, that's the only place you can get a link to contact me, to schedule a call. And so it's very different. This is very different from how I operated when I started. But Honeybook does not have the option to do a trigger based on scheduling a call or even the call happening. So my trigger for anything is actually after the first payment is made or the contract is signed. Either or. That is my main trigger going into Zapier. And let me show you my Zapier account. Let me see which one this is. Here we go. So a new project is booked in Honeybook, which means that the contract is signed. An agreement, proposal signed, or retainer paid. So that's what it is. The contract form being signed. So the question is, what trigger would I use based on contract form being submitted? That would be the contract is signed. Contact form is different. Contact form, we'll jump back over here really quick. That is, oops, wrong one. Discard changes, and that's automated based on which you could either do it default for contact form or by project type. And you can actually, if you have different contact forms, here is a generic contact form here. The settings, you can assign each contact form something different if you want to send them out or have them on different pages. So it really just depends on how you want to do it. This one's done with strategy. So, or you can do it for all, just don't assign a project type on it. You can also have it as a question in here, which is drop down. I don't think I have this listed. Project type there is required, and then update. We're going to add, I don't know, Honeybook. Add, save changes. Here we go. So then now it's in there. So that's the trigger there. So let's go back to Zapier. So Zapier, what it is, new project is booked in Honeybook and the contract is signed. So that's great. Now this is where you go ahead and change things. The project type contains, edit. Okay, choose app. It's filter by Zapier. Yeah. Contains. Project type contains. Now it's 14. So what I do here, project type, let's see, do I have, is other. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through and I'm going to change it depending on what the project type is. If it contains other, continue. If it doesn't contain other, it wouldn't continue. I can change that to whatever I want it to be based on here, based on what they submit. So I actually end up doing a lot of test ones before I go ahead and save it. And I actually will go ahead and with these, I'll just make a duplicate one of them. You do need to have the paid version of Zapier to do this. This is not something that you can just do on the free version. It is the paid version of Zapier. So understand that. Based on this, continue. Yeah, close. What's going to happen is that I have it create a client inside of Content Snare. I have it create a request in Content Snare, and I tell it which one I want. Based on what they did, what folder it would be in. I have different ones here. Client first, there's their email. It's going to find it from Honeybook. Full name would be that, space, that. Company name, I don't know if I collected in here. I don't think I collect it. Ah, there we go. Company name, so if they collect it, they collect it. Status published, communication template is default. And that's honestly, I left it as default from them. Share via link enabled, yes. Passcode enabled, I do not want the passcode. I don't care who the request owner is. It could be anyone that's on my team that's there. And then I just hit continue. It would test the action. I do not want to test that. And then someone had asked about going into Asana. This is what I do here. It just creates it into ClickUp. It creates my folder that I have a template for inside of ClickUp. The same concept can be used inside of Asana. And so it continues on. Again, it's based on the project type. It creates the list in ClickUp, which it pulls the specific list for that specific project type over into ClickUp. I do like Asana, except for it does not do everything I want it to do. So I switched over to ClickUp, and who knows what I'll end up doing. I'm like terrible with using project management software systems. That's just me. I think my team hates me because of it, but I love them all, and they're kind of used to me now that they know that they actually have to send me stuff. I actually use a Google task list. On ours, it also creates a channel in Slack for them. and then it invites them to Slack, but I actually ended this one. I don't want it to do that. So that's what it does there. So that is that is one workflow. It takes minutes to do. It's just done in minutes, and I don't have to do a dang thing. So that's what makes it powerful. And that's why I do this part, right? Because I don't need people creating a whole bunch of different folders for me. I don't need tasks for team members to do it. It's automatically done. Now, inside of Content Snare, let's jump over to that one. Why do I like Content Snare? Because Content Snare has a lot of questions that I can ask you, and I can have it do a whole heck of a lot. I don't even know how, I don't remember how I actually got into Content Snare. I have no idea how I ended up with this piece of software. I probably clicked on something and got like so excited. I have no idea. Guys, I do have a link to it, but I'm not even going to bother sharing it because it doesn't give you guys anything, and that's just kind of stupid. So their affiliate program for your end really doesn't do anything, and I don't need $7. So if you like this software, have questions about it, go for it. Just go to contentsnare.com. I guess you could put my name in there, whatever. But so this is a template that I have, and I have a lot of templates. Okay. I have a 14 days to Honeybook Bookkeeper one, 14 days to automation. I have a Suite Dash automation process, basic CRM automation process, VA client intake form, the business strategy, 14 days to automation with Honeybook, and the standard 14 days to automation. Now, we actually combine a bunch of these, and this has changed since I did that, which is why I do not have that automation working right now with Zapier. Because when we took on Suite Dash, it's like, if you look at this, it's like 50 million questions. It's like, whoa. So there's a lot that goes into a or a Suite Dash build, but we do the same exact thing with a Honeybook build. So let's look at this one, and I'll show you why I absolutely love this one. So it's got basic information. Let's see. And it's got your name, company name, contact information, and then I ask you for your date of birth because we like to celebrate, and everything else, pronouns, because I would like to talk to you how you would like to be spoken to. This is the client experience workflow, and I include this picture to show them what's going on. This is what we are building for my bookkeepers and accountants inside of Honeybook, depending on what they need to do. This is generic. This has including my tax people, right? So this is very simple. If they have any special requests, they let me know. Additional information, who were they referred by? Is there anything else that they would like to ask? Now, one of the things I absolutely love is, guys, how many people have a life? You know, how many people have to automatically just stop something and like continue like later? Well, I can drop this entire thing, close the window, do everything, and come back to it later, and every answer that I've put in there is saved. Doesn't make a difference. It lets them know. And you know what? Like I said, I deal with in Google Tasks. So, you know, that's how I do everything. If it's in my Google Task folder, I will actually look at it and go and take a look. My team actually if they mention me inside of ClickUp, it actually sends it over to my Google Task list so that I pay attention to it. That's my Zapier that I am working with. But this automatically sends them reminders based on the schedule that I have set up. I set up their due date, and usually for me, it's within 7 business days is when I ask. Sometimes it's 14, depending on when we are doing the actual start date. So based on that, it's going to remind them. If they're done, it stops reminding them. If I approve everything, it stops reminding them, which is perfect. Then on top of that, you can see here, I can embed my videos. There's my video. My hair's a lot lighter then. That was when I was going a little bit darker purple. That's actually just now like 2 inches down at the bottom of my hair is that color. But this is it. This is how I show you how to share your password. I embed videos in here. I show them. Then I actually, right now, what we do is we go in and we tell them what we're going to need their passwords for. If we're linking it to Content Snare or a project management system, we need their Zapier password. And, there are certain things that we ask them, and I tell them and show them how to do it. It's helpful. It lets them know. Another thing that it lets them do, you can ask all the lead questions, all of that, services and projects, your schedule. It can be multiple choice. It could be whatever. Branding information. So branding. They can upload a picture or they can put a shareable link. So they can upload all their stuff. What happens when people upload? I don't have it on the video right now. I don't have the screen share. But Content Snare creates a client drive inside of your Google folder. So if I go up to my settings, integrations, configure, this is where it goes. Client name, request name. As soon as the client uploads it, it does it. Then it exports the request to the configured path when the request is changed to completed. And it sends all the answers over there. I mean, how simple can you be? It's already done. So Zapier's done. You can do it in OneDrive. You can do it in Dropbox. You can do it in Google Drive. I mean, it's already done. It sends everything over that's put in here into a folder so that if I have to do it, it's automatically done. Yeah, it's automatically included with it. So it puts it all over there. So then later on, what we do is, this is great for us when they send us 50 million emails. Because I don't write email copy for anyone, except for ones that I've already pre-done. So I don't write it. So since I don't write it, I need them to upload all their email copy for us. By uploading their email copy, it sets it up and it makes, I get copies of it. And I get the links, and the links are in there. If they uploaded the files are in there. So it's all done and it's all easily accessible. So we can do it a couple different ways. There's just different ways that you can do the whole thing. But it all works, and the whole thing all works together, and it works very easily. It works so that you don't have to worry about it. Does it work 100% of the time? About 99%. I think when I was running this, yes, I'll show you how to send a proposal with yeah, it's actually just create a proposal. So I'll jump back over there in just a minute on that. But it's very simple to do, and you get notified if there's an error somewhere. So, it's simple. For me, it was me able to send, pretty much run my business by myself without having, $29 a month with Content Snare, 20-something a month for Zapier. And all I had to do was have the automation, and that's all I spent. So I didn't have to have a whole bunch of additional steps, and I knew my clients got the stuff. So I'll probably end up working on that a little bit more, but we're going to go there. So the question was asked of how to show us in Honeybook how to send a proposal within an email within a workflow. So you need a task. You need a task. It is manually done. It is not a trigger. There is no trigger for that. So what you need to do is after you have, it will automatically create it for you. I don't think I have, yeah, it's got a couple things here as we practiced. So they submitted the brochure, which is now also a smart file. view selection. So I chose the 20-hour a month executive VA package, and it's created the invoice and a proposal. Gosh knows which one it is. We'll do this one. So it will create a proposal. And this is a legacy file. This is not the new smart files that are being rolled out. And it's got this information with the contracts. And then it's review email. And this is my generic email on it. So it's going to put it in there, and you need to go ahead and set it up. Honeybook does not automatically send it. It's actually, for me, it's one of my favorite things because I like to customize stuff a lot. For example, if I have this one, I can add things here and send it based on the conversation we had. And I'll add things like, we are going to be connecting with Zapier, because I do not do it for all clients. Anything that they've picked, it will go ahead and do that. This does not have an automatic send. Now, if you do have a smart file, you can actually, let's see. So what do I have? I don't know if I have it in here. This is where they select. No, I don't have one. They do have it with the smart file that it goes from select to purchase. Let me see really quick. Hold on one second. I am going to hide the, you guys can look at my, that one for just a second while I see if it's in my main one, so I can see if I've got it as a template. Because they do have something similar inside of I think it's this one. No, I'm trying to look. The smart files have something similar. Yeah, okay, we'll do this. So this is actually this is a smart file. Smart files are different than legacy. Smart files are being rolled out. It is not something that everyone has. If people do not have it, we go in and we ask for it if it is something that we feel is appropriate for the client. So this has it where it's got the proposal. It's saying, hey, are you ready to get your life back? It's got this. This is what we're going to do. Take a look at the services we offer. Pick your services, system audit, system strategy, 14 days to automation. That's like way off. A VIP day, specialized templated setup. Based on what they pick, it will go ahead and put it in here. The payment plan will be done. Then it will go ahead and fill out their contract for them. Then it will take them to the payment. Next step. And then we have a personal questionnaire added into it. But again, I end up putting this inside of Content Snare. So that's what I do with that portion of it. But again, if you do not have smart files, this is not something that is available. I do not like it. Not that I'm saying that it can't work. I just don't think that it's, I don't know, you could do it. There's a couple things for me in particular that just don't work for it. For example, I need the project date. I need to know the start date. I do not have, like if I'm doing an audit session or if I'm doing a system strategy session, the date isn't picked until afterwards. So I can't have a payment plan on that one. But then if you pick, if you pick a day intensive package where it's a VIP day, I have a payment plan for that one. So there's a couple things I'm not really thrilled about with it, and I understand what they're doing. But for me right now, because of the project date is not selected at the beginning, until I talk to you, then it doesn't work for me. Can it work for people? Absolutely. For example, if I was doing coaching and I wanted to have it get paid on this, then it's a monthly recurring. My one-on-one coaching is monthly. It's recurring, and you just select which package you want. So that would absolutely work. No, so the question is, the start date could be the date signed or paid. That is not correct. That is not the project date. That's not the project date for it. Now, that's for me. Now, I know on bookkeepers, some of my bookkeepers, we set it up where, it starts that day. So when I go into details and pricing, but that's a recurring payment. It's not, this is due, like all of my projects are due by within 5 days before I even start the project. Or if it's a longer project, then it's due 5 days before the project end date. So that's what I do, because I do not turn over any work until everything is paid. By bookkeepers, though, we would delete this one, and it's a monthly recurring payment. And I would actually set this up as recurring, but it's just different. I would have to change this whole thing. But that sort of thing is how you would end up doing that. So it depends on how you have your business set up. Like I said, for my coaching people, it would definitely work. Because I can say you can pick a plan, whether you want to talk to me once a week, whether you want to talk to me once a month, whether you talk to me twice a month, however you want to do it, will depend on how much you're going to end up paying, right? Because you get the same service, you're just talking to me more often. Most people don't need to talk to me more than once a month. They just don't. I love you all, but you guys don't, because my coaching clients, most of them work with me over Slack as well. So with Slack, we go ahead and we talk back and forth. We have voicemail messages. We have long conversations, and I can talk to you anywhere, and it's a lot faster response. Most people don't need to talk to me one-on-one. So when you do this, so the question is, so I understand that a proposal cannot be sent as part of an automation, but how do I attach one to an email? So actually, when you go in and you do, let me find my project search, Dana. Create new proposal. So I'm going to do this one. Whatever, I'm just picking one. Share, and it's going to attach it. Once you go to share it, it's going to send it as an email. You can add a participant, you can create a link, but it's going to go ahead and send it as an email. As soon as you go ahead and send it, go to share it, it's going to send it. I actually do have a video on YouTube, I believe, on Honeybook. I think it's like an hour long of how Honeybook works. And it is more of the legacy files, because as a Honeybook Pro and as a member of the beta team, we got to see a lot of this stuff first. The same thing happens, though, when you've got create new, and you can do it here with a legacy file as well. I like legacy files. I think they're just, I like legacy files. I've been working with them for 3 years. If I do a manual proposal, this is what I send. And I actually delete that one. I never do 3 payments. And then there's my contract. See how it autofills. Review email. Oops, I need my address, but whatever. There. There is my generic one. And then I go in and I edit my email because I customize it for pretty much every client. And then I let it go from there. So I hope that this gives you an idea of what Honeybook can do for you. But then at the same time, joining it, no, you cannot remove the payment plan unless you send separately a contract and a you could, if you're sending them a proposal, that's what they're agreeing to, and you're sharing your payment plan. You can have one payment or two payments. A proposal has to do with getting paid. So they're agreeing to that along with that payment terms. You do need that. If you want to send just an invoice, then that's one thing. You can also send just a contract and then send them an invoice separately. You can do that. I think it's extra work. So for me, the contract, proposal, and invoice is super easy to do. So, but like I said, I do have a video on YouTube that is like an hour long about Honeybook. So definitely check that out. Yeah, I think it's about an hour where it's just Honeybook. So, but I hope that this showed you guys how to link the two together using Zapier with Content Snare to get a better, more detailed questionnaire that brings it out of Honeybook. I don't like all my team members inside of Honeybook, so I put them into Content Snare. They can grab that information there. So I hope that helps. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later.